Good evening, everyone. Present Hitesh, Medley, Sudhanshu, Meghna, Aini, Annie. Okay, what about others? I hope you all have finished reading and revision of the profit and loss part. Yes, Tiwari ji, good evening. Come on. My energy is dependent upon your energy, directly proportional. So come with your rewards so that we can start with our chapter revision, then the test, and then we'll move further with our chapter. How was it? Uh, Somewhat not so major, but an important portion of chapter 9, audit of items of financial statements. And in that, we covered profit and loss part. Shruti, Karthik, Pooja, Sneha, Janisha. I'm doing good, Janisha. Thank you. Ben ready. Karthik said is reading done. Karthik, I hope you do well in today's test. Shriram. Huh. Okay, fine. What about others? The regular people only who have conversed with me till now. What about others people? I cannot see new people. I could see Medley and Shruti. Okay. Oh, Yash says my first day. Welcome on board, Yash. Purnima. Candidates is all geared up for the test. Hirul. Hirul, I suppose you had a few questions when we left the previous session. Can you please come up with those doubts? And Purnima, it's fine. If you missed the last session, you can go through the notes already uploaded and you can ask your queries anytime or in the last session of this chapter. Okay. Shriram, case studies and MCQs we'll do when we finish with this chapter. So that is an integrated case scenario. So we'll definitely practice one, at least one, I can assure you, a case study, or I'll try if we could cover two as well. When we are done with the chapter, we'll definitely practice those MCQs and case scenarios, and I'll also give you in the form of assignments and notes at the end of the chapter with answers for your practice, not during the chapter. Reason being, we are taking baby steps and we cannot curate a case study or questions until we are done with all our concepts. You know, we have to integrate the concepts. So, okay, you asked today. Today we'll be doing one activity for sure. The test will be in the form of an activity only. कार्तिक से आज टेस्ट है और नहीं तो क्या. What were you thinking of, Karthik? I told you in the last session we'll have a test today. It's fine, Siddharth. That's fine. So, okay. Sneha says I've met you in orientation batch from Kolkata. आपको याद होगा अगर मैंने I'll try to recall, Sneha. I'll try to recall. She, yes. Okay. Monthly retainership agreement. So we have 5 to 10 minutes initially for your general queries from the previous two sessions. Then we'll take up some of the, I have chosen two question papers of the Institute's exam, July 21 and December 21. So I'll be taking up the questions from whatever we have done till now from this chapter. The questions that were asked in the exam from that relevant portion, will be taking up that. And how do we have to write answers, and what does the examiner expect from us, right? We'll take up that, and then after we'll have the test. Shriram, okay, I'll try for that, but I'll suggest follow your study mat back questions and illustrations. At the end of the chapter, I'll definitely try with that. Okay, the questions and all. I'll try for it. I'll give you. Okay, so Huriel asked monthly retainership agreements. So retainership is kind of a freelancing work, kind of, not exactly, where the freelancer or the consultant basically hire for work contract types. You are not in the permanent employment, but they have hired your services as a professional to do some monthly work or fortnightly work, weekly work. So that is kind of retainership. I hope, Hiriel, I'm clear. Any other doubts from the previous two sessions, please? You can come up with that. If you want to know the meaning of a certain word or some technical word, a technical line, anything, please come up with it. We have 5 minutes for the doubt from the previous session. I'm giving you the opportunity before we head for the test. Right. I suppose, Hiral, you asked about the meaning of shrewd as well. There was a word shrewd. Okay. So I try to take up the study mats language when I give you the presentation. I take up the help of the presentation prepared or notes, so that when you're reading from the study mat as well, you get all the meanings cleared of different or the literal words, right? So there was this word shrewdly. Viral, that means like smartly, in a clever fashion. Okay, what is Sriram saying? Sriram's typing speed is my god. Huh? uh, I don't know, Sriram. I suppose I'll have to take the permission from BUS for that particular purpose. I'll ask you for that. I'll ask that for you. Sorry, I'll ask that for you, Sriram. Okay, I'll keep that in mind and I'll ask that for you. Non-recurring expenses, Aditi. Non-recurring expenses are expenses which are not of a routine nature. In legal and professional expenses is like somewhat you have to take a license and you hire the services of a professional. So the licenses were something which is one-time government license taking application, and professional helps you for that. So you don't have to take that license time and again every year, right? Or a professional fought a case on your behalf in the court, a legal dispute. So he's charging you professional fee. So it is not likely that every year someone is going to file a suit against you. Recurring is something which is which recurs, reoccurring, right? Habitually, like your electricity expenses, your audit fee, and everything, which is going to be there every time, every year. Non-recurring is that happens or that occurs on different occasions, or it might occur, it might not, as per the need. I hope, Aditi, I am clear. Meghna, struck off companies, companies whose name is struck off from the register by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. That was struck off companies. Initially, for you, that is enough. We have it in detail as well. Everything of struck off companies at the final level, but for initially, abhi ke liye aap itna hi samjho that the MCA or the ROC strikes off the name of the company. Like you were, if anybody got restricted from the school or college, like that. Okay. Rahul Punjab. Khushi, undisclosed income treatment. Okay, this is something which is new. Whatever is written in bold in your study material, that is an amendment that has come up for the first time. So undisclosed income treatment is something like there was a raid at the company premises, like our Shamji's Tea and Cookies Private Limited. There was a raid or there was a survey by the income tax department, and there was some, you can say, cash or income they found, which was not accounted for in the books as well as in the income tax return. Okay, it was not accounted for in the books, it was shown nowhere. So if they catch you, or they catch the details, they get the details on, they unearth the details. Unearth means dhund ke nikalna. Unearth the details relating to that income which has been not disclosed to the government, that is known as undisclosed income. And if any undisclosed income is found by the department during any survey or raid at your premises, and now you have to disclose it. So that is what treatment of undisclosed income. If you show it in your books of accounts, that is what the notes told you, that if there is any such income, you have to disclose it in your notes to accounts, as well as if you have made it a part of your books. Like I gave you an example in my case, one of my clients' case. Karthik, that those disclosure requirements are specific. That is a financial reporting framework. It is quite comprehensive, right? Those disclosure requirements. So it is case specific. It is not like this that every disclosure and every requirement is applicable to every company. Case specific, industry specific requirements are there. Depreciation schedule is fixed assets. When we'll come to fixed assets, I'll show you the depreciation schedule, Karthik. Everyone, I'll show you the depreciation schedule. What is that? Viral, smartly is better. Cleverly comes off in somewhat a negative sense. Smartly is better. Auditors are smart. Okay. Nilabjo, I'll have to see that. Where have you read it? And I'll cover it. 9.102. See, Nilabjo, I'll be covering that. That is under the miscellaneous part. I got you. Benami property and crypto, I'll be covering that in the miscellaneous part. So we have this. We have this chapter divided into 4 parts: the general part, the profit and loss part, the balance sheet part, and the miscellaneous part. We are done with 2 parts. We'll be starting with the balance sheet part today, part 3. This is something which I have classified. This is nothing from the law point of view. Okay, I've just divided a chapter for the sake of brevity and easiness into 4 parts for you to study in installments, right? Along those 6 sessions, these 6 sessions. So whatever is your doubt, I'll be taking up that in the miscellaneous part. No, Nilabjo, completely not. From taxation point of view, in income tax, just the basic tax norms, that is it. Otherwise, nothing to be like quite extensive study about crypto and all. No. Okay, should we move ahead? Any more doubts? Chali. Done. So let us see. Okay. Okay, I hope you all can see July 2021 question paper over here. Can you please, anyone who could write me over there in the query session? Okay, Gyani, I'll come to that. Gyani, I'll come to that. Siddharth. Okay. Chaliye. So what do we have over here? July 2021 question paper. Are you able to see it on your screen? Visible? Should I zoom it more? Okay. Chaliye. So this is a July 2021 question paper. Here we are. Question number 1, correct, incorrect. Answer is 7. And here we have the C part. Question number 1, the C part. State with reasons whether the following statements are correct or incorrect. And as you can see, we have this. It asks you, assertions refer to the representations by the auditor to consider the different types of the potential misstatements that may occur. Okay, correct, incorrect. And how will you write the logic, the reasoning? Assertions refer to the representations by the auditor to consider the different types of the potential misstatements that may occur. 2 marks for this correct and incorrect, and we have done this. Assertions is something we can write essay upon, whatever we have done in the previous 2 sessions. Okay. Good. Karthik, Hitesh, Banreddy, Pooja, Siddharth, Rahul, Hiral, they all have answered. What about others? Please get a cup of tea if you're feeling a bit dizzy. Busy? Okay. Gyahani, good. Yes, Purnima, good. Nilabjo, good. Yes, Pooja. Okay, fine. So this is the question paper, right? Now we'll move to the suggested answer. Question number 1, part C, suggested answers issued by the Board of Studies. So question number 1, part C. Here we are. So how do you write the answer? Incorrect. So specifically, if it is asking correct, incorrect, please use that terminology only. Don't go for no, false, not correct. Is it correct or incorrect? The question is asking you correct or incorrect. Don't go by true, false, and like this stuff. No. Yes, good. Everybody is good. Aditi is there. Siddharth, Aditi is there. Just before you, just before you, she answered. You are always away by margin of 1 second. Oh, Bindu, how is it correct? Okay, right. Good. Yes, Mr. Chitala. Good, incorrect. So, as you can see on screen, the answer is incorrect. The logic goes, assertions refer to representation by management, explicit or otherwise, that are embodied in the financial statements, used by the auditor, not made by the auditor, used by the auditor to consider the different types of potential misstatements that may occur. Right? No. It is not a quiz. We are just discussing the previous questions. Aditi asked me in the last session, sir, if we could, how to write in the exam. So I'll take up the actual question paper to discuss with you. Okay. Now, can you people tell me, you get study material on the portal, Board of Studies, right? You get your RTPs, you get your suggested answers, you get your question papers. But one file over there is the most important file and the most valuable file available for you to study and download on the Board of Studies portal. What file is that? Can anybody tell me? It is fine, Purnima. We are not going to be get by the network or speed today. The speed element is we are leaving it far behind. So can anybody tell me कौन सी फाइल है वो पोर्टल पे जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट है आप लोगों के लिए स्टडी करने के लिए एंड आई assume and what I observe that only 10% of the students go through that file. Pooja says referencer. Yeah, referencer is also an important file. You should refer that. MCQ and scenarios booklet. Yes, Karthik. For practice, it is good, but still not my answer. Subject-wise capsules. Ben Reddy says, okay, subject capsules, reference manual, quick referencer. Tiwari ji baji maar gayi hain. Aditi again. Good, Aditi. Good. You got it. What about others? Suggested answer, quick reference, class assignments, RTP, MTP, subject cases. Okay, so Aditi answered correctly. Good, Aditi. It is this file. Examiners' comments on the performance of the examinees. See, when you are preparing for a subject 4 months, 5 months before your exam, or you are preparing in those 1.5 days before your exam, situations differ, and so does the preparation style, strategy. This file, why would I say it is important? Because as an examinee, I should know what is the examiner expecting from me. And while I am preparing for my subject at home, during those 3 hours in the examination hall, my circumstances are clearly different. I might get anxious. I might get stressed a bit. And that is what gives rise to careless mistakes. mistakes in a jiffy, mistakes while you are striving hard to complete your questions. So this file, even if you are finding it like, okay, this was a simple question, why would I need to answer it right away? I can very well do it in the examination hall, but in the examination hall, the circumstances are different. So even if you could answer it really well while revising it at home, you should know that what are their comments, what could be the possible mistakes you could commit over there while writing your answer. And this is the file which is going to help you. You could not, but still you must know that what kind of mistakes an examinee can do to such kind of questions. So here we are. This is group wise, the summary. And how many of you knew about this file? Just tell me. खुशी से ऐसा कुछ भी होता है. Yes, surely. Yes, for sure. Why not? I'll show you. Just wait. I'll show you for sure. For sure. Where is it? See, I hope you all can see on the screen the student section, the BOS knowledge portal, right? I navigate to the BOS knowledge portal. Here you go. Here it is. The course, the syllabus, the math, the books, case study digest, MCQ, subject-wise journal, previous year question papers, RTP, suggested answers, mock test paper series, and here you go. Here it is. In suggested answers, see at the last, summary of examiner's comments. Group wise, December 21 attempt, July 21 attempt, November 19 attempt, May 19 attempt, November 18 attempt. May 22 is still not available. It will be available in a short time, if I'm not wrong. This is the 5 file. So I would request you to, like we serve the other social media websites and handles, please go through each and every file available for you on the institute's website. This is such a beautiful file and only 10%, 5 to 10% of the students know about it. Now let us see what did the examiners have to say. So it was our question number 1, part 3. Here we are. What do the examiners say? They say, in general, most of the examinees wrote the definition of assertion correctly. However, some examinees wrote about the names of various assertions, which was not required in the question. The question just asked you whether correct or incorrect. People answered incorrect. They gave the logic, and now they started writing the assertions. What are the assertions? They said it was not required in 2 marks. So those examinees wasted their time over here. They are not going to get extra marks for that. If they are writing assertions, the examiner has clearly indicated that there was no need of writing the names of various assertions. It was not required of the question. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. So the next question is at question number 4, a descriptive question. Let's move to that question. Here we are. It says CAX, while conducting the audit of Joyful Limited, found a considerable increase in sales as compared to the previous year. He doubts that few fictitious sales have been recorded by the company to overstate its revenues. Discuss any 4 audit procedures to be undertaken by the auditor to ensure revenue from sales of goods and services performed during the period is not overstated. And it is a 4 marks question, has asked you specifically only 4 audit procedures. 4 marks questions has asked you only 4 audit procedures. Come on. So what did the CA found? He found that there was a considerable increase in sales as compared to previous year. He would have compared that to the previous year figures, and he's doubtful that they might have recorded some fictitious sales. There are no customers. There might not be bills or fake bills. So how would you as an auditor verify that whether they have overstated their sales or not? 4 marks question, July 21 exam. It's a descriptive question. You can write keywords only. No need to write the full sentence, please. You can write keywords only. If we move to the suggested answers, as yes. No, Sudhanshu, no, you have to write 4 audit procedures. You are writing assertions. Sudhanshu, we have to write the audit procedures. Good Karthik, Gihani, Bindu. Good Akashnil. Okay. Let us come to the answer. What you guys have written and answered. Let's see. What does the suggested say? CAX. So see, how do you have to attempt the answer? You cannot directly write the 4 points. Just give some base. Make some ground while writing your answer. CAX, having doubts about fictitious sales being recorded by Joyful Limited, would ensure that the revenue is not overstated by performing following audit procedures. What is that? Check whether a single sales invoice is recorded twice or a cancelled sales invoice could also be recorded. I'll come to the notes as well. Test check few invoices with the relevant entries in sales journal. Obtain confirmation from few customers to ensure genuineness of sales transaction. Whether any fictitious customers and sales have been recorded, whether any shipments were done with the consent and agreement of customer, especially at the year end to inflate unearned revenue substantial. Okay. This was about sales, right? Let us see. Overstatement of sales. Here we are. So what does it relate to? It relates to fictitious. It is asking you about fictitious sales. That means the basic question is whether those sales have actually occurred during the previous year or not. It is not about complete. It is somewhere at the later stage about completeness, valuation, measurement, disclosure. But right now, the basic question is whether the sales, highly inflated figures, whether the sales have actually occurred or not, or there are fictitious sales. So that is about occurrence. And these are the points. Slide number 22, if I'm not wrong, from your notes. This is the answer. These are the audit procedures the auditor has to go for. Very good, Akashni. Yes, Hiral. That is it. The answer, right? So let's move to what the examiners comment on this question. Okay, so for this question, no comments are available. Fine. That means it was a general question, no need to comments. But what could I observe from your answers that you are confused between the assertions and audit procedures? See, audit procedures are to check various assertions. Management makes assertions, management makes claims, and we have to check those claims, those assertions, right? So we'll be asked about the audit procedures more. So we are concerned as an auditor with the audit procedures more, not about writing the assertions in brief. Occurrence, completeness, yes, we do check, but that is a long work. That particular question, you have to understand that what is it based upon? Fictitious sales. That means there could be recording of some sales which might not have occurred during the previous year and during the year under audit. So this is about occurrence. Yes, Pooja. Shriram, no, Shriram, no, Shriram, what are you doing? You are writing assertions. You have to write about only the occurrence assertion because the question is based upon the assertion of occurrence only. It is not asking you about assertions. Audit procedures vary from assertion to assertion. They might intercept between two assertions, right? But you don't have, if it is asking, if it is a 4 marks question, doesn't mean you have to write 4 assertions. You have to understand the question's logic. Okay, chaliye. So that was your July 21 question paper. Now moving to December 21 question paper. Yes, you will find. Okay, this is December 21 question paper. Let's move. No correct, incorrect asked from the part we have done till now. Let's move to the descriptive part. Okay, here it is. Question number 3, part C. So, it is a 3 marks question. What does it say? Profit and loss account of an organization shows various types of expenses like rent, power, fuel repair, power and fuel, repairs and maintenance, insurance, traveling, miscellaneous expenses, etc. that are essential and incidental to running of business operations. What are the attributes that an auditor generally prefers for vouching these types of expenses? Okay, 3 marks question, December 21 attempt. Indirect expenses, we did it last. After that, depreciation and amortization part, rent, power and fuel, repair, maintenance, insurance, traveling, miscellaneous expenses. What are the attributes that an auditor generally prefers for vouching these types of expenses? Now everybody is going through the notes. Let us find that slide. We'll answer it from there. Hana? The way you are taking a bit of lag while answering the part. I told you have to write keywords. Okay, let us see what does the suggested says. Attributes to be preferred for vouching other expenses. While the auditor may choose to analyze the monthly trend for expenses like rent, power, and fuel, an auditor generally prefers to vouch for other expenses to verify the following attributes. What are those attributes? Characteristics. What does the auditor basically vouch for the characteristics of such expenses? Whether the expenditure pertain to current period under audit, whether qualified as revenue or capital, whether had supporting documents, classified properly, authorized properly, and was related to entity's business and it was not a personal expenditure. 3 marks question, 6 points answered, and here we are. The expenses part. Slide number 57. Attributes. The general, common for all the other expenses. Here it is, the 6 points. What is the highlighted word? The highlighted word is attributes. They have asked. Good, Karthik. Yes, Gyani. Okay, Kunal, this is something general question asked, which applies to all the other expenses. This question didn't ask anything of a specific expense like power and fuel, rent, anything like that. It is asking generally about all the expenses. This is what happens. When you understand audit, you just keep on writing whatever you know. Let us check the cash book. Let us check this. Let us check that. The question is asking about attributes, general attributes, which covers each and everything. You start giving examples in your answers. Okay, we'll check the cash book. We'll do this. We'll check the consumption part. You just make a khichdi of whatever you have read and learned in other expenses, which is not required. If you have read the module, if you have read the notes, if you have understood it well, this is what you need to answer. Let us see what the examiner comment says. 3 part C. Okay. Yes. Attributes to be preferred for vouching. Many examinees were aware about attributes that an auditor prefers for vouching various types of such expenses. But some examinees wrote about verification of these expenses instead of writing about attributes. The same problem which I'm facing over here with you people. The same problem the same mistake you're committing over here. The same thing examiner has told. They know about the topic, but instead of writing the attributes of vouching, they are writing about verification of such, the audit procedures. The question hasn't asked you about the audit procedure, but you are writing audit procedures, verification of how will you verify these expenses. You are asking, we'll check the consumption, we'll check the cash book, we'll check the rent receipts. No, he hasn't asked you about verification. That audit procedure, they'll ask a separate question for that. Here, the examiner is asking you about the attributes. So you'll have to write about that only. I hope I'm clear over here. Already said you caught us. Good, Khushi, good. Yes, Aditi, characteristics. Hiral, expenditure was authorized as per the delegation. For example, for authorization of an expense. For example, there is this like Independence Day party, right? An office to be celebrated, the independence. And who is the right authority in the hierarchy to approve, first of all, that party to be organized in the office of the company? And then who had the authority to approve those expenses for the pizza or the snacks or the refreshments? It should be in the authority of a person, right? An eligible person. And the vouchers, the expense voucher, the payment vouchers should have been approved by that person who has that authority. Not a person below the level of authority of that person would be able to authorize those expenses. Like the senior manager can only authorize the occurrence of such expenses. So a manager below the level of senior manager would not be able to sanction those expenses. I hope I'm clear, Hiral. Yes, Sriram. Attribute means, see, what, like with respect to these expenses, what kind of characteristics of these expenses the auditor will check, the common attributes, the common characteristics which apply to each and every expense, whether it is rent, whether it is power and fuel, whatever it is, right? It applies to each and every expense, these characteristics. That is what the examiner asked. Then let's move to the next question asked in December 21 exam. And you see, the second, the B part to this question above is also from the balance sheet part. Next question. Here we are. Whether it is possible to independently verify the correctness of some of the items of expenses included in the statement of profit and loss, explained with the help of some examples. Whether it is possible to independently verify the correctness of some of the items of expenses included in the statement of profit and loss, explained with the help of some examples. Three marks question. Aditi, it is quite obvious and it is quite normal that you get confused, because what happens is when we read audit, when we understand audit, we understand every part conceptually. But while writing the answers to the questions, as I said, we make khichdi. So that is why I've always asked you to make a summary of the chapter, make a flow chart of the chapter, divide the chapter into, like we have done, 4 parts, further subparts, and then further topics and subtopics in that part. Like a family tree we used to draw, we used to make in our junior classes. The head of the family, grandfather, grandmother, father, mother, uncle, aunt, maternal uncle, aunt, cousins, real siblings, and all. In the same way, audit of items of financial statements start with 4 parts, then 4 parts, subparts. Then each part has a separate topic, further subtopics. On 1 page or 2 page, if you can get a picture of the chapter tree, the chapter chart, it will be quite easy for you to locate a specific answer. Okay, what will I do? After we are done with this chapter, when we I finally upload the last segment of notes, I'll make a chapter chart for you from this chapter. I'll upload it for you, right? the handmade chart, how to make a chapter chart. For all other chapters of audit, you will make yourself. I'll make one for you, chapter 9's chart. And I'll upload it along with the notes when I upload the last segment of notes so that you can get to know how to make summary of chapter. Okay. So answer to this question. Okay, let's move to the answer part. Question number 4D. This is something which is from chapter 8. Included it over here because it is related to profit and loss items. This is from chapter 8. You have done it, analytical procedures. This is from that part. So let us discuss it. Often it is possible to independently verify the correctness of some of the items of expenses, including the statement of profit and loss. So analytical procedures, right? They have given the examples of cost of import of goods and other commission paid. Like analytical procedures may help identify the existence of these transfers, unuseful or unexpected relationships that are identified. This is something which is general. Let us see what the examiner has to say about it. Few examinees mentioned about analytical procedures but did not have knowledge about independent verification of expenses included in the statement of profit and loss. Because the examiner asked for some examples. Okay, this was a question from the chapter of analytical procedures. He said, yes, the examinees wrote about analytical procedures, but he's also asking, give 4 examples. Using examples. Right? Give your answer using examples. So they said they don't have the knowledge of independent verification of expenses. How you independently verify each and every expense using analytical procedures. This is what the examiner had to say. So this was something which was from the previous question papers. I hope the people who asked me, and because of them, I had to take up these questions, and it was, I suppose, beneficial for each and everyone over there. So I hope you got some clarity on writing answers. Did you? How to write your answers? There was one correct, incorrect, and some descriptive 4 marks, 3 marks. Did you get a clarity of where you are heading wrong while preparing for your exams as well as while writing answers in the examination hall? You have to be quite strategic. Even at this point of time, when you are just 2 months away from the exam, you should know in what direction and how to prepare, rather than just cramming up the concepts or just understanding it and then making khichdi over there in the exam. Okay, chaliye. So time for test and activity. Then we'll take a break, and then after the break, we'll continue with our chapter, the balance sheet. We'll start with the balance sheet part. Okay, so let's make 2 teams. Team A and Team B. Yes, Sriram, you are right. The examples are okay. The examples are good, Sriram. Oh, Sriram takes a lot of effort while writing. He's writing the whole answer over there. Oh, what typing speed? Good. Okay, so let's move to the team activity. No priority to your network or timing today, just to the quality of your answer. So we are going to audit the profit and loss of Tea and Cookies Private Limited. Yes, Siddharth. Yes. Bullseye. Yes. You have to be quite crisp with your answers and relevant to the point. Okay. Okay, Pooja, I'll take that up. I'll take that up during the last session on this chapter. Okay, I'll note down your concern and I'll pick that up. No need to worry, Aditi. It is just these questions like the last one. Mm, Practice a lot. Practice as many questions as you can. Just don't read the material only. Just don't read the provisions or the whatever is written in the chapter, right? Make sure that you practice as much as you can. A variety of questions available from the mock test paper, from the revision test paper, from the previous year question papers. So this is what is going to add to your knowledge bank and the variety of questions that can be asked, so that as many questions as you practice, you'll develop a habit of understanding what the examiner is actually asking rather than just writing anything or everything in the answer. Asking the examiner, please choose appropriately whatever you ask, whatever answer suits you. As Siddharth said, we had to write crisp and relevant. This is the meaning. We are just writing each and everything over there and asking the examiner, please choose as per your choice, whatever answer you find suitable. This should not be the case. Yes, Kunal, you can. Okay, so we are going to audit the profit and loss of Tea and Cookies Private Limited, the various expenses and all. And I'm going to ask you questions like, I am the article. I am the article trainee, and you all are the engagement partners. Okay? You all are engagement partners. You all are auditors. And I'm the article trainee who is on his first time audit and he wants to gain knowledge from the experienced engagement partners. So you all belong to Aditi's team. Huh? Aditi was the auditor for Tea and Cookies Private Limited based in Kanpur. So you are all a part of that team. And I'm the article trainee, just disguised in different roles. So I'm going to ask you questions and you have to answer me. And be very specific because to whatever principal I'm going to ask the question, only that principal has to reply, not the other engagement partner. The exam is open book, Pooja. Had it been an open book subject, I would have allowed open book. Otherwise, I cannot see whether you are opening a book or not. Okay, so let us divide teams. Team A, Team B. Let us see if there are more participants, then we'll make Team C as well. No, Siddharth, let me be in. Let me. I should also enjoy being on your part. I have been in the past, but let me today as well. Okay, so who all are in? Come on. Fresh. Who all are in? I would divide the teams. Come up with your names, please. Siddharth, Gihani, okay, Prabhas, and ready. No, I'm the trainee. I cannot compromise on my position. I want to enjoy the monopoly of being the only trainee. Okay, then we have Namrata, Aditi, Khushi, Pooja, Shruti. Okay. Sudhanshu, Bindu, Hiral. CA Kartik Gupta. Okay. Future CA Kartik Gupta. Kartik, Neha, Shriram, Meghna. Okay. Shaktivelan, Purnima, and Shankar. Anyone left who wanted to say I am in, who wanted to tell me I am in, but as the network is not allowing. Still one spot left, then we'll start. Okay, so if anyone comes, I'll give you. So team A. Okay, who are the members of team A? Please remember your team, right? Team A members are Siddharth, Prabhas, Namrata, Khushi, Shruti, Bindu, Karthik, Shriram, Shaktivelan, and Shankar. You all are team A members. Okay? Team B members. Gehani, Banreddy, Aditi, Pooja, Sudhanshu, Hiral, Neha, Meghna, and Purnima. So team B is one person short. So we'll see what we can do if somebody joins in later. We have 19 people on board in this team activity. Okay. Chaliye. Hitesh, which side you are in? Hitesh, are you there? Hitesh. Okay. Hitesh, team B. Right? Now we are on the equal platform. 10 people both sides. Done. Chaliye. So let's start. So let's move to our audit. Okay. So I'm the article trainee and I'm going to ask question. Okay. So question to Siddharth sir. Siddharth sir, I've read about financial statements audit, and what I read from my book that financial statements audit, an auditor attests to the presentation of the financial statements and related disclosures, attests to the attributes. So, sir, what are those attributes? Truth and correctness or truth and fairness? Siddharth sir, please tell me. I'm confused. Financial statements audit attests to the truth and correctness or truth and fairness of the presentation of financial statements. I've asked this to Siddharth sir only. All other can write. You can write, okay? If you want to give answer, you can write in the query box, but I'll give marks only on the basis of Siddharth's answer. Yes. Okay. Team A gets a point. Truth and fairness. Okay. Team A gets a point. Truth and fairness. In case I am not able to get an answer from the members of one team, I can definitely pass on that question to another team for bonus marks. It is a game. Let it be. Let us define some rules for the game. So I'll pass on the question to another team. I'll not ask the members of the same team again. I'll pass on the question to another team. Okay? Truth and fairness, right. So can anybody tell me what is the difference between truth and fairness and truth and correctness? What is the difference between truth and fairness and truth and correctness? Come on, don't Google it, huh? What is the difference between truth and fairness and truth and correctness? You have been reading about truth and fair view. So there is this term truth and correct. Good, Bindu. Good, good, very good. Yes, Sudhanshu, very good, very good. Very good, Siddharth. Very good. Very good. Okay, Siddharth. So the questions are of 2 marks. Wherever the questions are of 2 marks, you'll get 1 bonus mark. And Siddharth's justification is completely fine. So the extra mark for that as well. Wherever the logic is involved, and I am satisfied with your logic. Correct is precise and not at all wrong, whereas fairness is reasonable. So when something is fair, there could be other alternatives as well. I would say ठीक है, अच्छा है, it's good, it's fair, काम बन जाएगा, it's fine. But when we have to test the correctness means जो है यही है, there is no other alternative. That is truth and correctness. I hope I'm clear with everyone. One ready? I hope I'm clear with the difference. Correctness is accuracy and absolute assurance. Fairness is reasonable assurance. Yes, Namrata, your answers are reaching me. Only the difference between absolute and reasonable assurance. Fine. Next question to team B. Okay. Team B. So my question is to Gihani ma'am. Gihani ma'am, I was reading the standards on auditing, and in one of the standards on auditing, I read like we are vouching the sales expenses, the revenue items of Tea and Cookies Private Limited. So one of the standards, Gihani ma'am, the risk tells us that the risk of material mistreatment in case of revenue items is quite high. So I am not able to recall that standard. Can you please enlighten me, Gihani ma'am, what that standard was? That standard tells us that the risk of material misstatement in case of revenue items is generally or usually very high. No, Siddharth. You cannot revise your answer. Once the answer is submitted, you press enter, your answer is submitted. Okay, all other members of the team are answering, but I want an answer from Gihani. Gihani ma'am, which essay was that? And I'm not going to give you more than 1 minute to answer, including your network time. Bindu, not AS, essay. Standard on auditing. Everybody else is answering, but Gihani is not answering. What happened to you, Gihani? Score a point for your team. Are you there? You have 30 seconds left, Gihani. Please answer. Gyani came running, bhagti bhagti आई है. Yes, yes, yes. The answer is SA 315. Okay, Gyani, the full. Okay, the full name of the standard SA 315. Gyani, come on. The full name of the standard SA 315 for that extra mark. Yes, 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 Miss Gomati Krishnan, you are right. Kunal, no, not SA 320, SA 315. Gehani, if you want an extra mark, the full name of the standard. Okay, 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 okay. चलिए next question, team A. Question to Prabhas. Prabhas, sir, I was testing the internal controls at TN Cookies Private Limited, and I don't want to reduce the extent of substantive testing. Prabhas, please be with my words. The level of difficulty will keep on increasing. So Prabhas sir, I was testing the internal controls over sales cycle, and I concluded that I cannot reduce the extent of substantive testing. So my result should be communicated to the appropriate authority as per which standard of auditing. The results of my testing should be communicated to the appropriate authority as per which standard on auditing. Prabhas, team A. Yes, Hitesh, your answers are reaching. Okay, Gihani, I'll give you the mark. You just interchange two words. You first identify the risk and then assess it, Gihani. Not assessing and identifying, identifying and assessing, right? But still. Okay, Kunal, if you are in, I'll put you in team A. Prabhas, waiting for you. I cannot give more than 1 minute because I'll have to conclude with the test as well as I'll have to further resume with the chapter. No, Bandretti, you cannot delegate your question. I am a very strict article trainee. Siddharth has answered, Meghna has answered, Akashnil has answered, Shriram has answered. Shriram, no, you are wrong. Pooja has answered, Karthik has answered. What about Prabhas? Prabhas, are you there? No, Prabhas, no. तुम आउट हो गए. Prabhas, the answer is SA 265. But you can still score the bonus mark if you can tell me the name of SA 265. See, I was testing the internal controls And I came to a conclusion that I cannot reduce the extent of my substantive testing. That means there are deficiencies in internal control. And if there are deficiencies in internal control, there is a proper standard of auditing for that to be communicated to those charged with governance. Essay 265. Okay, come on, Prabhas, 30 seconds. Tell me the full name of Essay 265 and you'll get the bonus mark. Okay, Prabhas. Now, next question. Team B. Team B, Bun ready. Your question. So, Bun ready, sir. While vouching the employee benefit expenses, I was checking a sample of employees who have resigned during the previous year to check whether their dues have been settled properly and an acknowledgement of final computation has been received from them. Pandreddy sir, I extracted a sample of employees who have resigned during the previous year. I checked for the final payments made to them and whether their acknowledgement has been obtained regarding the same. Sir, which assertion is being taken care of here? Which assertion by the management is being taken care of here? Bun ready, sir. Okay, Prabhas gets a bonus point. Team A gets a bonus point. Right, let us increase the speed. Bun ready, sir. Which I'm giving you only 1 minute so that you cannot just refer the notes or the module and answer me. Only 1 minute. And I'll reduce it to 30 seconds. I have a timer with me. Okay, Hitesh answered properly. Akashnil answered correctly. Banreddy, Aditi, you both answered wrong. The answer is occurrence. Occurrence. See, you have recorded that we paid provident fund, we paid gratuity, we paid relief encashment, everything that has been recorded either out of the provisions or in the profit and loss account, right? So if there is some item that has been recognized, you have to check whether it has actually occurred during the year or not. That is why you are going to check the acknowledgements. Whether those employees have acknowledged it, yes, we have received the payment. This is what establishes the fact that actually this particular transaction has occurred, this particular expense has occurred during the year under audit. Bun ready? He was the person most excited for this test. Okay, Bun ready? You can get the bonus mark. Just tell me with respect to statement of profit and loss, what does occurrence assertion mean? What does occurrence assertion mean with respect to employee benefit expenses? Come on, tell me, and you'll get the answer. No, Hiral, it is not cut off. Siddharth, no completeness. Meghna is right. Prabhas, I asked him that I have expected a sample of employees who have resigned during the previous year to check whether their dues have been settled and acknowledgement has been received from them. So which assertion by the management in the financial statements I am referring to? Next question to Namrata. Okay, Namrata, while vouching for the employee benefit expenses, I asked the payroll department to give me a list along with a monthly movement split between new workers joining, old workers leaving, and the workers who are continuing even after the year end. New workers who have joined, the old workers who have resigned, and the workers who are still continuing with the organization. I asked from the payroll department to give me a list of such employees and the monthly movement split. Which assertion of the management is being checked by me over here? Namrata ma'am, come on. Bandreddy, you have to tell me the meaning of occurrence with respect to employee benefit expenses only, then you'll get the bonus mark. Namrata ma'am and yes. Namrata ma'am. Akashnil is right till now. Hiral is right. Everybody else is wrong. Akashnil is right till now and Hiral somewhat. She gave selected two options. Good, Hiral. Okay. Namrata. Namrata is there. Come on, Namrata, answer. It's your team's turn to secure. No, Shriram. No, Hitesh. This is what the audit procedures we have to read in detail. You know, how are you just mixing the various audit procedures? Shriram, Hitesh, what you have told me is the next step. First, I have to obtain that list. Then I'll apply other audit procedures. I'll move to other assertions then. Kunal, classification is no assertion. Okay, fine. We don't have Namrata over here, or her answer is not reaching me. Maybe I'll wait for 1 more minute. Till that time, I'll ask Aditi the next question from team B. We'll see if Namrata answers in another 1 minute. Otherwise, I'll ask Aditi. Aditi, your question. I was checking for understatement. I'm still in the payroll department, Aditi, and I was checking for the understatement or overstatement of employee expenses. So I wanted to verify the provisions made for employee benefits, like bonus, gratuity, leave encashment. If any such employee benefit is accrued to be accrual in their accounts, or the provisions with respect to such employee benefits. Which assertion am I referring to? No, Namrata, that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is occurrence. The correct answer is occurrence. I will obtain a list of the employees leaving, joining, so that I can check for the expenses debited to the profit and loss account. Only after that, the number of employees I'll have to check. I'll compare it the salaries. I'll check for dummy workers, whether they have not inflated the salaries and wages payments. They're not dummy workers like fictitious sales. So that is related to occurrence of employee expenses, Namrata. Now over to Aditi. I want to check the provisions with respect to employee benefits and obligations, bonus, gratuity, the provisions made. Come on, Aditi, team B. Right, Aditi. That is measurement. I'm going to check the percentages applied. I'm going to check how much amount is being appropriated to these reserves, how much amount is being transferred to these funds, what amount of provision is being made. So that comes to measurement part. Whether such provisions have been measured appropriately, there should be no understatement or overstatement of these provisions, employee benefits and obligations. Very good, Aditi. You score 1 mark for your team. Next question to Khushi from team A. Okay, Khushi. Khushi, I went to the godown of the company T&N Cookies Private Limited, and I am examining the material inward records with the corresponding invoices. I am telling the material inward records with the corresponding invoices entered in the purchases book. I've carried the purchases book with me or the PDF file with me, and I'm examining the material inward records with the invoices entered in the purchases book to check out if there are any omissions. What assertions am I referring to over here? What assertion with respect to the purchases made by T&N Cookies Private Limited? Come on, Khushi. Khushi from team A, what assertion with respect to purchases am I referring to over here? Khushi ma'am. I wanted to check that the purchases have not been inflated or deflated, understated or overstated. So I went to the godown and I'm checking the material inward records with the invoices that have been entered in the purchases book. No Khushi, no Karthik, no Gehani, Hiral. अरे किसी ने भी सही जवाब नहीं दिया. No. Yes, Prabhas, good. Bindu, good. Pooja. No Shriram. Hiral, good. No Gehani, no Siddharth. I am checking for the. देखो जहां पे understatement, overstatement है, इसका मतलब ये नहीं सब जगह occurrence होगा. What I'm doing is I'm checking whether the whatever goods I have received physically, have they been entered with the purchases book, the invoices, right, for that particular year. So this could be occurrence as well. This could be completeness as well. This could be occurrence as well. This could be completeness as well. Okay. So I'll give a mark for both. This is something which you can take in completeness assertion as well. Actually, in our audit procedures, it is given in completeness. This is a cutoff test. But we can check the occurrence part as well. We can check the occurrence part as well over here. But the people who wrote measurement, no, it is not measurement. Completeness or occurrence to it. Aditi, it's with respect to purchases. No, Karthik, not wrong. It's fine. It's fine. I corrected myself. Sincere apologies for that. Okay, the question was asked to Kushi and Kushi answered. Fine. Kushi answered occurrence. I'll give that. It's fine. It is completeness as well. It's written in completeness in your audit procedures. Practically, it can be occurrence assertion. You can also refer. Okay. Team B, Pooja. Pooja, I wanted to know whether the inventories have been properly classified as stock in trade and work in progress in the balance sheet. Which assertion am I referring to, Pooja ma'am? I wanted to know whether the inventories of finished goods, stock in trade, and work in progress have been specifically written in the balance sheet or its annexures. What assertion am I referring to? Come on, Pooja. Okay, Pooja has not answered yet. We'll wait for her answer. Let's move to Shruti. Team A, Shruti. Shruti, while checking for the depreciation expenses, everybody has answered correctly what I asked from Pooja, but I'll wait for Pooja's answer. No, Pooja. No. You got it wrong, Pooja. Pooja, that relates to disclosure. The presentation and disclosure assertion in the balance sheet, not completeness. Chaliye, moving to team A, Shruti. Shruti, while checking the depreciation expenses, so I want to ensure that depreciation has been charged as per the useful life of the machinery. As per the useful life of the machinery purchased by T&N Cookies Private Limited. Which assertion am I referring to? Which assertion am I referring to? Shruti. I wanted to ensure that a depreciation has been charged as per the useful life of the machinery. Which assertion am I referring to? 1 minute, Shruti, and then we'll move to Sudhanshu from team B. Shruti ma'am, the answer. I wanted to know your useful life of machinery. So can you please help me? Which assertion am I trying to complete over here? Good, Shruti. Good. Measurement. Because I'll be requiring useful life only to calculate the amount of depreciation over the useful life. Good, Shruti. Team A gets 1 mark for that. No, Hiral, not disclosure the use. Okay, useful life, it's fine. I was asking for checking of the depreciation expense. Hiral, just listen to my words. I asked while checking the depreciation expense debited to the P&L account. Okay, right. Sudhanshu. Okay, Sudhanshu, I wanted to know the depreciation method chosen for depreciating the machinery. I wanted to look for the depreciation method chosen by T and Cookies Private Limited for depreciating its various assets. So which assertion will help me find it? Yes, on the face, Sudhanshu. Which assertion will help me find it? कि जिसको मैं पूछता हूं वो बाद में आंसर करता है, सब पहले कर देते हैं. अब in the previous question, Sudhanshu was answering right away. Now it's Sudhanshu's turn. He's not answering. Next question from team A. Bindu, be ready. Sudhanshu, I'm waiting for you. You have just one. Hiral, you got it. Sudhanshu, where are you? Shriram, right. Akashnil, right. No, Prabhas. Prabhas, I can get it from there, but I want it on the face. Sudhanshu, no. Sudhanshu, you got it wrong. It is presentation and disclosure. In the disclosures, you would find the method of depreciation being used by the company to depreciate its assets. Okay, moving on to Bindu, team A. Bindu, while vouching one of the expenses, while applying my audit procedures on one of the expenses, I got to know about a certain dispute for which the entity has not made a provision. A certain dispute, a claim against the company, or a lawsuit filed against the company, while checking for one of the expenses, while applying my audit procedures on one of the expenses. What expenses could it be? Bindu. What expenses could it be? Team A. Yes, when ready, your answers are reaching me. Okay, Bindu, you have got 1 minute. What expenses it could be? Because when I was vouching for such expenses, I got to know about a dispute for which the entity might have to raise a provision in its financial statements. Good, Karthik. Good. Hitesh, how could it be staff welfare? I'm talking of a dispute. Good, Hiral. Siddharth, good. Okay, Bindu, you got the point. Legal and professional expenses. Very good. Very good. Now coming on to team B, Hiral. Hiral, I wanted to check the prepaid expenses for insurance expense. Which assertion is it? The prepaid expense for the insurance expense. Which assertion is it, Hiral? Hiral, team B. Hiral from team B. I want to check. Good, 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 Hiral, good, very good. Cutoff as well as measurement. Very good. Cutoff as well as measurement. Cutoff will tell me how, what part of the period it relates to the previous year, and measurement helps me to arrive at the correct amount. Very good, Hiral. Measurement and cutoff, two assertions are being referred to over here. Very good. Had you answered only one assertion, Hiral, I would have given you 1 mark, but I have given you 2 marks. You have earned 2 marks for your team, 2 points for your team. Very good. Team B gets 2 marks. Moving on to future CA Karthik Gupta as he addressed himself. Karthik, sir, I was checking the employee benefit expenses vouching, and I find that the employee benefit expenses have been categorized into salaries and wages, contribution to provident other funds, and staff welfare expenses. Which assertion, sir, has the management made over here? While checking the employee benefit expenses, I found they have categorized the employee benefit expense into salaries and wages, contributions to provident other funds, and staff welfare expenses. Which assertion is the management made over here? Come on, Karthik. Karthik, don't call Karthik. Karthik calling Karthik. Come on. Which assertion? Neha from team B, be ready for the next question. Where are you, Karthik? Karthik, don't give me a smiley. Come on, give the answer. The emoji will not earn marks for your. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, Karthik has given the answer, right? Emoji is in a separate, right? Right, disclosure, presentation and disclosure. Very good. Karthik has earned a point for his team. It's not Sabu, it's Sabu, SABO, Karthik. Right, next, Neha. Neha, madam, I was vouching the employee benefit expenses and I asked the payroll department to hand me over the monthly salary register for all 12 months. The monthly salary register for all 12 months. That means I asked them for 12 registers of salaries. Which assertion made by the management am I going to check right away in the first instance? Obviously, other assertions will also be checked from the monthly registers, but on the first priority, what am I going to check, Neha? And it's fine, Karthik. No need to be sorry. Come on, Neha from team 2. What is your answer? I asked the payroll department to hand me over the monthly salary registers for all 12 months. Other people as well, please. You can also answer. Namrata, right. Bindu, right. Hiral, right. No, Aditi, that is on second instance. Banredi, right. No, Hitesh, that is on second instance. I'm asking the first assertion which I'm going to check through these registers. Are Karthik, it is completely fine. I know. You need not explain. Happy with that. Neha, your answer, your team is awaiting. Good, good, good. Neha, I'll wait for your answer. If you answer, I'll give you 1 mark. Your team B. Okay, team A, Shriram. Shri Ram, I am in the factory of Teen Cookies Private Limited or in the store, and I am making a stock composition analysis. I am making a stock composition analysis. So, what assertion made by the management with respect to purchases am I vouching for? I'm carrying out the stock consumption composition analysis. Stock composition analysis. Shri Ram. Come on, Shri Ram. Stock composition analysis. I'm carrying out which assertion with respect to purchases? Yes. Karthik, Hitesh, Siddharth. Very good. Yes, yes, yes. Right. Shriram, your turn to earn a point for your team. Nia hasn't answered yet. No, Pooja, it's not disclosure. Kushi, right. No, Meghna. Karthik is answering on behalf of Shriram. Shriram, don't write wrong answers. It is a one-word answer, okay? I suppose you're taking time while writing the whole answer. Just answer in one word, the assertion's name. Good, Nilabju. Not Sudhanshu. No. Right, Shriram. Shriram was going to write. I started. Right. Shriram, measurement. Very good. Stock composition analysis is an audit procedure for to verify the measurement assertion. Very good. Slide number 41. Good, Prabhas. Okay, let's move to team B, Meghna. Meghna, I'm still in the godown, in the store, and I am calculating the creditor turnover ratio and stock turnover ratio. I am calculating the creditor turnover ratios and stock turnover ratios of the current year with previous year. Which assertion am I actually vouching for? Meghna, to you. Siddharth, right. Good, Kunal, good. Gehani, Hitesh, good. Meghna, why are team B people so late in answering? Team A people reply immediately. Team B people are taking time. I've still not received answer from Neha. Where is she? Yes, Meghna, right. Measurement. I'm going to measure the stock, right? The value of stock as compared to turnover. I'll carry out the quantitative reconciliation of closing opening stock with the help of these ratios, purchases and consumption. So yes, the measurement assertion. Mega scores a point for her team, team B. Shakti Velan, are you here, Shakti Velan? The next question to you. Shaktivelan sir, I went to the purchase department and asked for a written representation for them that all the purchases that took place during the year have been recorded in the books. I asked them for a written representation that all the purchases that took place during the year under audit have been properly recorded. Which assertion am I vouching for over here? Shaktivelan. Good, Kunal, good. Yes, Shaktivelan, please answer. कार्तिक सेज टीम ए फास्ट है क्योंकि सिद्धार्थ भैया के पास एयरटेल 4G है. Yes, 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 Shakti Villain. Completeness. Very good. Completeness. So all the purchases have been recorded. When all the purchases I'm asking for recognition, it's completeness. Moving over to Purnima from team one. Purnima. Okay. Purnima, I want to know whether the other income has been classified into interest income, dividend income, or gain or loss on sale of investments. Which assertion should I check for? Purnima, team B. Which assertion should I check for? I want to know whether other income has been properly classified into interest income, dividend income, or gain or loss on sale of investments. Purnima, team B. Yes, Purnima. Please answer. Is Shankar here from team A? Is Shankar here from team A? Okay, good Shriram, good Karthik. No Gihani, it's not your answer. Yes, Purnima. Presentation and disclosure. Good. Scored 1 point for team B. It's presentation and disclosure. No Shakti Villain, it's not measurement. Good, 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 good. No, no, Nachma. Very good. Almost everyone has answered correctly. Moving over to Shankar. Shankar, the question to your team A. While vouching the purchase is, I am reviewing the journal entries to check for any unusual transactions. I am vouching the journal entries to check for any unusual transactions. Which assertion am I referring to over here? I'm reviewing the journal entries, Shankar, in the purchases register or the purchases in the system to check for any unusual transactions. Which assertion am I interested in to check? Shankar from team A. Okay, Karthik right, Sudhanshu right, Hitesh right, Prabhas right. Hiral, this would be on second instance. What you told, what you have answered, this is on second instance. I'll come to this assertion to next step. For first step, what am I checking? Very good. Almost everyone has answered quite correctly. Good, 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 good. I've not received Shankar's answers. Team A का 4G, सिद्धार्थ का 4G डाउन हो गया. Shankar has not replied. I'll wait for him. I'll move to Hitesh. Team B. Okay, Hitesh. While checking the depreciation expenses, Hitesh, sir, I found that a fake asset has been capitalized in the books. A fake asset has been capitalized in the books for which depreciation is being charged. I want to physically verify the asset. I want to physically verify the asset. Hitesh sir, which assertion? Karthik, that is Karthik. Okay, Hitesh, your turn. Is Kunal here? The last question, is Kunal here? No, this is not the last question, but I'm asking for Kunal if he's here. I'll ask the last question and we'll end the game. Oh my God, Hitesh. I was wondering that you will give me two answers, completeness and occurrence. You gave me measurement. No, I'll have to check whether that fixed asset exists or not. Either it's occurrence or either it's completeness, where it's completeness actually. I'll have to check the completeness, cut off completeness, and it could have been existence. But how come measurement, Hitesh? No. Nahi, Hitesh. No. Completeness, or you could have written occurrence. Okay. So if Kunal is here, I'll ask the last question. Otherwise, we'll move. Right. So very good for both team A and team B. I'll give you 75% success rate for the answers you have given me. This was a 75% success rate. And see, I've spent a good hour on this activity. This was required, this test, this activity was required to clear your doubts how you mix or intermingle the various audit procedures and assertions while writing your answers in the exam. Now, I hope you got to know the importance of various audit procedures under different assertions. Obviously, there are some two or three procedures which fall under more than one assertions. But when you know the assertion, you are verifying, vouching the expenses on 5.5 assertions, and you have separate specific audit procedures with respect to each assertion. So you should be able to distinguish specific audit procedures for specific types of assertions, and there should not be any khichdi making. This is the point I wanted to drive home, that you have to be very specific with your answers to the questions. That is why we spent a good hour on this activity, so that you could understand while answering that where are you heading to. कार्तिक आजकल के ट्रेनी ऐसे ही होते हैं. Be prepared. Yes, Cyril, you have to. You will be asked specific audit procedures, Cyril. You will be asked specific audit procedures. The activity we did today, this could be a part of MCQ, or you'll find it in my case study as well, which I'll discuss, which I'll give it to you at the end of the chapter. But this is somewhere. Okay, Kunal is here. Kunal, okay, a bonus question. Kunal, for you. Kunal, what is a three-way match? What is a three-way match, Kunal? And this question is for everybody and for Kunal as well. What is a three-way match? While vouching the purchases, what is a three-way match process? Okay, for everyone. What is a three-way match process? This question is for everyone, open to all. What is a three-way match process? Khushi, it is completely fine. In such kind of questions where you will feel that there are two types of assertions being identified, such confusion questions are not asked actually. Or if there is a specific audit procedure and listed in your in the presentation or in the module, that specific audit procedure you could relate to that particular assertion, you should be careful for that. Yes, Karthik, good. But the disease test is over, not over now. You got your C certificate back. Okay, so we'll take a break for 10 minutes, and then we'll continue with the balance sheet part. We'll start with the balance sheet part. Okay, please bear with me today for 15 to 20 extra minutes in today's class, so that I can cover up with what I had planned for today, not more than that. This activity and this test was very much essential for the conceptual clarity in how you need to study, what should be your aim, as from examination point of view as well as from practical point of view. Okay, so I'll wait for your answers for the two-way, three-way match, and obviously for Kunal specifically during the break, and we'll be here after 10 minutes and we'll start with the balance sheet portion. Okay, chaliye. Yes. Okay, everyone, we are back. Okay, the three-way note was the purchase order, the goods received note, and the invoice. The purchase order, the goods received note, and the invoice. Okay, Kunal? Everybody's back. We are starting with the next leg of our chapter. Just be with me for the next half an hour, and I'll be taking you on a ride through your higher secondary days. The standard of +2, where you were introduced to the company accounts. The first thing you did in company accounts, capital, reserves and surplus and all. And I suppose this is one thing, the capital surplus thing, which is of much interest at that point of time. And assuming, or I would say presuming, that you have done corporate accounting, company accounts in your accounting subject and advanced accounting as well, I will not be taking up on the meanings of certain terms like authorized capital, paid up capital, subscribed capital, or what are these reserves. I suppose you know about them, but even then, if someone faces any conceptual clarity difficulty, you can always jot it down and can ask me at the end of the session or during the beginning of the next class. Okay? Please don't shy away from asking me any doubt. Don't feel like you should not be asking this doubt. Even if you want to know what is a revenue reserve, what is paid up capital, you can always ask me. But please ask at the end of the session or during the beginning of the next session. Okay? Fine. If doubts are related to the basics which you have covered in your +2 standard. Okay, Kunal, you wrote about payment, but it is purchase order, goods received note, and invoice. That is the three-way match. Payment is at a later stage. Surely, so let's move and so we did the assertions with respect to profit and loss. Now assertions with respect to balance sheet. So what do we have over here? The same assertions. Now here, in profit and loss, it was occurrence, whether that particular transaction occurred during the year, took place, happened during the year or not. The meaning is same in the case of balance sheet, but the word comes existence. Whether that particular asset or liability and equity exist at period end or not. Period end. This is something which we need to take care of. Period end. Because I told you balance sheet is always prepared on a particular date. Profit and loss account relates to a particular duration, a particular period. But balance sheet is always prepared as on a day end. So we have to check as at the period end, which is under audit, whether the assets, liabilities, and equity balances actually existed. For example, these are the assertions with respect to balance sheet. We are taking up again the assertions, but now with respect to balance sheet. Right, Prabhas? Okay. For example, inventory, stock recognized in the balance sheet. It actually existed at the period end. It actually existed as at the period end. So we need to know this. Okay. How can we check it? Physical inventory verification. I'll ask Tea and Cookies Private Limited management. Okay, you have shown this much stock. Take me to the godown, take me to the shop, and let me count. Let me take inventory, check inventory, count inventory. So I can get an idea that yes, inventory actually exists as at period end. So we don't go for audit on 31st March or 1st April. Okay, you are going on 7th of April, 7th of May, fine. Check the inventory present as on that date, 7th of May. Work backwards, reverse gear daliye. Work backwards through entries in the books of account and reach till 31st March. Okay. Completeness, it is the same. What does completeness mean? All assets, liabilities, and equity balances that were supposed to be recorded have been recognized. The same as profit and loss. For example, inventory has been properly recorded and complete in all respects. Stock, raw material, finished goods, work in progress, stock in transit, stock held with consignee. For example, an inventory held by a third party on behalf of the entity has been included as part of the inventory balance held by the entity. Okay, as a consignee shall be excluded. So, if I am a consigner, whatever stock is held with the consignee, consignee is a third party that is holding stock on behalf of Tea and Cookies Private Limited. I'll include that stock in my financial statements. Stock held with consignee. Now the consignee, he is holding stock on behalf of consignor Tea and Cookies Private Limited. He'll not include the consignment stock in his financial statements because he's a third party to such stock. The ownership, the rights vest with Tea and Cookies Private Limited being the consignor. So this is what completeness is. Yes, Hitesh, here only existence. No occurrence. Existence. Okay. Cut off whether all the assets and liabilities are reported in the appropriate period. For example, you purchase some stock on 2nd April. You cannot include it in the 31st March stock. That is cut off. Whatever is recorded in the balance sheet, it relates to existence in the previous year itself. Okay. Quite easy. Now the fourth part. Here it is not measurement, it is valuation. Transactions are always measured or valued, but assets, liabilities are always measured, valued. They are not measured. They are always valued. So here it is not measurement, but only valuation. They have been, as a period end, they have been valued appropriately. There is no overstatement or understatement. While practicing the questions of final accounts, you would often come across a situation where you would get an adjustment. The closing stock of the previous year was undervalued by 10%. The closing stock of current year has been overvalued by 20%. These would have been the favorite adjustments of the examiners at that point or at your foundation level. So what would you do? You would correct those valuations. The stock reserves, right? You would correct those valuations and then state it at the appropriate, the accurate value in your statement of profit and loss as well as balance sheet, right? Okay. Aditi, for example, you are my consignee and I am the consigner of Tea and Cookies Private Limited. Now you're not the auditor. I am Tea and Cookies Private Limited and you are the consignee. And suppose you are, okay, let's change the example. Aditi, you have the consigner, right? Tea and Cookies Private Limited, you are there, you are the consigner. And I am sitting here in Punjab and I am the consignee. Okay. So Tea and Cookies Private Limited sends me 100 boxes of cookies to be sold by me on consignment basis. Those 100 boxes of cookies are still unsold on 31st of March as at period end. Tea and Cookies Private Limited will include those 100 boxes in its closing stock as consigning stock inventory held with consignee Vipul Sabu. But as a consignee, the same stock which has been included in Tea and Cookies Private Limited stock because it has rights over that stock. If it is unsold, I'll return it to them. I am only the consignee, the intermediary. So if I have some stock of my own to be sold to customers over here, that stock will not include such consignment stock. That is the example, Aditi. There is no such difference between valuation and measurement, Karthik. It is just you cannot measure the assets. You always measure the transactions. It is something which is of commerce parlance. You cannot measure. Transactions are always measured because they keep on happening throughout the year. You have to measure them, but you can value something as a period end, as on a particular date. Measurement is a recurring process. You keep on measuring everything, but valuation is a process which is at a day end or a period end. So this is something new which you are getting in balance sheet. Rights and obligations. The entity has right over the assets, that is ownership, legal title and control. And the liabilities recognized in the financial statements represent all the entity's obligations that entity undertakes to repay them at a given date. The borrowings, the creditors, the outstanding expenses. So the rights over the assets and the obligations as to the liability. The company Tea and Cookies Private Limited has right over the cookies purchased and purchased from ABC company. They are its creditors. So it has some obligation towards the creditors that it will repay them in the next year as on period end. So rights over assets and obligations towards the liability. Like the last is presentation and disclosure. Yes, Kushi. Measurement is over a period and valuation is as on date. So first part, properly classified, described and disclosed. Classified into various categories, described as per their nature and disclosed properly with amount. Presentation and disclosure assertions are considered during the course of audit to determine that disclosures are complete and accurate. The disclosures that are more susceptible means prone, vulnerable to material misstatement are those that require significant judgment and qualitative assessments. So something that can be measured, valued quantitatively, that is mathematical statistical formulas, you can carry that out. But where you require some kind of judgment, estimates, qualitative assessments, you have to take care of material misstatements over there. Audit team assesses the completeness and accuracy of disclosures by determining that disclosures provide information in a manner that does not materially omit, distort, or mislead the user. Omit means something which has not come to his knowledge. Distort means taking him to some other direction. And mislead means he gets a wrong inference from the disclosures. The balances should be properly aggregated, segregated, and disaggregated. We have done these terms. The related disclosures are understandable in accordance with the applicable FRF, Financial Reporting Framework. Quite okay. These are the assertions related to balance sheet. The first part, when you were introduced to company accounts, share capital. Here, qualitative assessment means where there are no figures involved. For example, there is a particular expense in the books of the account, that packing material, right? There is packing material. So I'll ask Tea and Cookies Private Limited, show me. There would be definitely some boxes, some, you would say, other kind of packing material available with Tea and Cookies Private Limited in the form of stock. The different categories of packing material. This is fine quality box. This is normal quality box. This is something, a normal bag, paper bag, if we sell loose to a retail customer. So we can check with the quality of that packing material, how much it will be valued at, or other qualitative assessments like your accounting assumptions. Qualitative assessments means which is not based upon any facts or figures. Aditi, susceptibility, I told, means vulnerable or prone. Okay. So we all know share capital is the lifeline. The life cycle of a company starts with share capital. You have to first issue shares, the promoters issue of shares, and prospectus is laid out. Only private company does not come out with the prospectus. Otherwise, all companies, abridged form or a statement in lieu of prospectus, you have done it in your corporate law. And we also know minimum subscription, right? And we all know the process, the journal entries we started with in company accounts: application, allotment, first call, second call, share premium, right? And you might have also done underwriting contracts. Have you done underwriting contracts? The companies take the help of agents, intermediaries, who sell shares of the company's behalf for a certain commission. Those people are known, or firms or companies are known as underwriters, and they enter into underwriting contract. That contract is called underwriting, that we underwrite, we take responsibility to, so that your such number of shares are get subscribed by the public. That is our responsibility. That is an underwriting contract. I hope you all know about the term underwriting contract. Good. So how will you ascertain that share capital exists at period end? We'll check the balance sheet. We'll tally the period end share capital with the previous year audited financial statements. The authorized capital, the issued capital, the paid up capital. Authorized, the maximum amount that can a company get by issue of shares. Issued, out of authorized, how much shares have been issued, and paid up, out of issued, how many have been paid by the shareholders completely. So the scope gets on decreasing. It could be the same, it could get decreased. Authorized could be equal to issued, could be equal to paid up, or paid up could be less than issued, which could further be less than authorized. Depends upon your share issue. Yes, Siddharth, right? Yes, Namrata, right. In case there is no change during the year, obtain a written confirmation, management representation from the company secretary. The companies which are liable to appoint a company secretary, and if there is no company secretary, the company is not required to appoint a company secretary, then from the management. that there is no change in the entity's capital structure. Same amount of shares as in the beginning of the period and as at the period end. If there is any change, verify whether the paid up capital as at the period end is within the limits of the authorized capital. Authorized capital is the maximum limit. I hope you all know about this. The paid up capital can never exceed authorized capital. If you want more money, more shares you want to issue, and you have reached the maximum limited as to authorized capital, you have to get your authorized capital increased with MCA by filing appropriate forms. Authorized capital, where you can check the authorized capital from MOA. What is MOA? Memorandum of Association of the company. Hitesh, some companies under the Companies Act are required to appoint a company secretary for secretarial compliance. Right? If there is no requirement of company secretary as per law, then you can always ask the management for the same. Or if there is a requirement of a company secretary to be appointed for secretarial compliance, as per the Companies Act, you'll have to take a representation from the company secretary. Sriram, what have you written in your query now? That is what share capital, everything. Completeness. Equity balances that were supposed to be recorded have been recognized in the financial statements. Obtain certified copies of resolutions passed at board meeting, shareholders meeting. If you want to get your authorized capital increased, your authorized capital was 1 crore. You want more money and you don't want to borrow from the market. You want to increase your shareholding. You can get your authorized capital increased by filing a form and paying the fee to MCA. If authorized capital is increased, now you can issue more shares and get more money. The capital would increase. You'll require certain resolutions you have done in your corporate law. The auditor should check the certified copies, not the draft copies, properly certified by the person authorized. If there is a fresh issue made in the current year, check with respect to the return of allotment, PAS3 form. We'll come to that. Form PAS3. The company has to file with MCA, return of allotment, that yes, we have allotted more new shares during the year. Check the minimum subscription has been complied with. In case of fresh issue, minimum application money to be collected, maintenance of a separate bank account, payment of underwriting commission. This is with respect to a fresh issue by any company. Bandreddy Shriram wrote whatever is covered in share capital part, everything. He wrote it in, I told you Shriram is writing full answers in the query box. No shares have been issued at discount. You know, section 53. Only sweat equity shares can be issued at discount, otherwise no shares can be issued at discount. Check if shares are issued for cash or for consideration other than cash. Okay. SEBI regulations and guidelines we have to check for. Also obtain and verify the copies of forms filled with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. 2. Get the authorized share capital increased. We have form SH7 for increase in authorized share capital. And for form PA3 is the return of allotment. That we have allotted more shares. We have increased our paid up capital. Out of 1 lakh authorized, we had just issued only 80,000 shares and they were all paid up. Now we wanted more money. We used our buffer of 20,000 and we reached our limit of authorized capital of 1 lakh shares. Those 20,000 shares we have allotted and you have to file a return of allotment PAS3 with respect to those 20,000 shares. And in case you have issued shares to a foreign company, If the foreign company is investing in your company by way of FDI, foreign direct investment, a non-resident shareholder, you have to file this FCGPR form with Reserve Bank of India. Right? This form FCGPR. Further, if there was an increase in share capital, verify the appropriate fee and stamp duty to be payable to MCA has been properly paid. While you file the form SH7, PS3, I'll show you these forms. I'll show you SH3 and PS3, PS3 and SH7. While you file these forms online, all these forms are online, and you have to file these forms. You have to pay the requisite fee and stamp duty to MCA. Okay. So for increasing share capital, you have form SH7. So this is form SH7. I hope you all can see on your screen. You all can see SH7C. Notice to the registrar of companies for any alteration of share capital. You're altering your share capital. You are altering by way of increasing your share capital. Form number SH7. Section 64, subsection 1 and rule 15 of the company's share capital and debenture rules 2014. See, the company or incorporation gets a corporate identity number, CIN. When you punch in the CIN of the company in this box and you press the icon pre-fill, the relevant particulars, the permanent particulars as available with the MCA, they all get pre-filled. Now you have to fill only the changes or only the transactions that have taken place during the year with respect to increase in share capital. Name of the company, address of the registered office, email ID, purpose of the form. See, all the purposes which are related to alteration of share capital have been mentioned. You have to check the purpose you are filing the form for. Resolution details, authorized share capital, what is the existing capital, what is the revised capital, you want to increase, what is the difference? It is a difference, whether you are reducing or increasing your share capital. Any change in the members, everything, right? And last, when this form, you have to fill in all the details, all the minute details, and at last, you have to digitally sign it. You have to attach the copies of resolutions and anything else documents required, and then you submit it from over here. This is how companies' form are filed with MCA. These forms are available on MCA website as well as on Google. Right? This is HH7 form. Now see, this is PAS3 form, return of allotment. Under section 39 subsection 4, 42 subsection 9 and rule 12 and 14. So this was return of allotment. How many shares you have issued during the previous year? See, again, the corporate identity number, you have to pre-fill the name of the company address. Everything would get pre-filled based upon the records available with MCA. You'll only have to fill whatever is required of you. Securities allotted, payable in cash. If you have issues any shared for cash, date of allotment, date of passing shareholders resolution. Dekhiye, see, preference shares, equity shares with differential right, without differential right, debentures. Brief particulars, number of securities, nominal amount, total nominal, everything over there you have to fill. Each and every minute detail, and at last, after filing the form, you have to attach your digital signatures and then file the form. So SH7 and PS3. SH7 is for increasing the share capital, alteration of share capital, and PS3 is return of allotment. Right? Yes, Siddharth, there is. No, here stamp duty and fees is payable for different kinds of works, right? For different kinds of work. Not only for increasing, for different kinds of work, right? Now, how do you value your share capital? Share capital is valued at the time of, right, when you have issued it. You have authorized, issued, subscribed, paid up, unpaid, forfeited, everything over there in the notes. You used to do this. So we'll come to what entries we used to pass. See over here, bank to share capital to share premium. If share premium is received along with the application, then bank to share application to share capital to share premium. We used to pass these entries, right? If premium is being received along with allotment, you have to see that it has been valued properly. The first case is shares issued at premium. In case a company has issued shares at a premium, what is premium? Amount in excess of nominal value of shares, whether for cash or otherwise. Section 52 of the Companies Act provides that a company shall transfer the amount received as premium to the securities premium account, and the company has to state the purpose for which this amount will be applied as given under law. There is no restriction or conditions under the Act for issue of shares at premium. However, it is there for issue at discount. No restrictions or conditions under Act for issue of shares at premium. The provisions of this Act relating to reduction of share capital of a company shall apply as if the securities premium account were the paid up share capital of the company. So the provisions with respect to if you are reducing your share capital, the same way they will apply as if the securities premium is the share capital. Assume it to be the share capital and apply all those provisions with respect to reduction in share capital as you apply the securities premium you have to apply. It is one and the same, Shriram. Is it share premium, securities premium? Different languages in different countries. The soul is the same. The Atma is the same. It is premium. So we all know this was a hot favorite question during our +2 days, graduation days, and in the foundation as well. Application of securities premium account. Right? The securities premium account may be applied by the company for the following purposes. What are those purposes? Towards the issue of unissued shares of the company to the members of the company as fully paid bonus shares, writing of the preliminary expenses, writing of expenses or commission paid or discount allowed on any shares or debentures. Now, shares cannot be issued at discount, but debentures can be. So you can use securities premium account for the same. You all have done issue of debentures, issue of preference shares, redemption of debentures, redemption of preference shares. You all have found use of securities premium account over there. In providing premium payable on redemption of any redeemable preference share debentures, buyback of shares. Buyback of shares as per section 68. So these are the only purposes for which security premiums account can be utilized. And the auditor has to make sure that if securities premium account has been utilized, it has been utilized only for this purpose. He has to verify this. So what does the auditor need to verify? The premium received on shares has been transferred to the securities premium account. He has to assure it. And such amount after transferring has been only used for the purposes mentioned above. So two basic procedures for the auditor: transfer to securities premium account if such money has been received, and now the account has been utilized for only the said purposes. Okay. Shares issued at discount. Section 53. A company shall not issue shares at a discount except in the case of issue of sweat equity shares. Under section 54. Any share issued by the company at a discounted price shall be void. Further, it says a company notwithstanding. So how do you read the law? Notwithstanding anything contained in subsections 1 and 2. That means this is subsection 1, section 53, this is subsection 2. Notwithstanding means without giving any importance to what is written, bypassing it. Notwithstanding means bypassing these subsections. That means this is kind of an exception or proviso. A company may issue shares at discounts to its creditors when its debt is converted into shares in pursuance of a statutory resolution plan or debt restructuring scheme in accordance with the guidelines of Reserve Bank of India under the RBI or the Banking Regulation Act. So who could be the creditor in case of a statutory resolution plan under the Companies Act, or it could be a bank under the RBI? It could be a debt restructuring. So you cannot issue your shares at discount except for in specific situations. What could be that specific situation? When a creditor is being paid in shares. When you cannot pay them in cash, you are paying them in shares. Under a proper statutory resolution plan or a debt restructuring scheme, then you can issue the shares at discount. Where a company fails to comply with these provisions, such company, every officer, these are the penalties. You have read it in your law. You can read it from here, right? What do the auditor needs to check? The movement in share capital during the year. He should verify that no shares are issued at a discount. He should read the minutes of the meeting. And he should also verify that if it has issued shares at discount to its creditors to convert the debt into share capital, it is as per a properly statutory resolution plan, properly made statutory resolution plan or a debt restructuring scheme, right? The same three procedures the auditor has to check what we have read in the previous slide with respect to issue of shares at discount. Yes, Hitesh, notwithstanding, bypassing, overriding. Overriding means not giving importance to, right? So, Aditi, vouching is basically when you check the recording of expenses, whether they have occurred or not. Verification is something when you check their existence. Verifying. So, verifying, vouching are usually used interchangeably, but in normal parlance, we use verification for profit and loss items and verification for balance sheet items, right? But usually they can be used interchangeably. Sweat equity shares, देखिए कैसे पसीना बहा रहा है ये इंसान. इतना पसीना बहाने के बाद, after so much sweating, he works for the company. Company acknowledges him in the form of sweat equity shares. So section 54 कहता है that employees may be compensated in the form of sweat equity shares. Sweat equity shares are the shares issued by the company to its employees or directors at a discount than the market price or the issue price for consideration other than cash, because they are providing their know-how and their intellectual property rights by whatever name called. They're sharing their knowledge with the company. They're working for the company. As a reward to their services, sweat services, as a reward, the company issues them shares. Here it is there. Come on, Siddharth. What if those shares crash? That is your luck now. Company has done its part. So what does the auditor need to verify in case of sweat equity shares? The issue is authorized by a special resolution passed by the company The resolution specifies the number of shares, the current market price, consideration if you have asked for any consideration from the employee's discounted price, the class or class of directors or employees to whom such shares have been issued. C part omitted. There was a provision over here which has been omitted by way of an amendment in section 54. So if it is omitted, I have written it here to just tell you that you will find it in your module as well. Omitted. Omitted means this provision has been omitted under law, done away with, but you need not write it in your exam. If you want to write section 54 provisions, you write C, omitted. No, you need not write it. Where the equity shares of the company are listed on a recognized stock exchange, SEBI guidelines have been followed for the issue of these sweat equity shares. And if they are not listed, they are unlisted shares, then rules for the issue of such shares under the company law have been properly prescribed and followed. The rights, limitations, and restrictions and other provisions as applicable to equity shares shall be applicable to sweat equity shares as well. And the holders of such shares shall rank pari passu with other equity shareholders. What is pari passu? Come on, what is pari passu? Tell me what is pari passu? Yes, Siddharth. At the same level, equal, treating equally. Shall rank pari passu means will be treated equally like other equity shareholders. The sweat equity shareholders will be treated the same way as the other equity shareholders. What does the auditor need to verify? The auditor needs to verify whether the fresh issue of shares was a rights issue or a preferential issue. I hope you all know about rights issue and preferential issue. Preference shares. Whether the relevant requirements for issue of share capital as per the Act have been complied with. This is what the auditor needs to check in case of sweat equity shares. Yes, Bindu, right. These are the auditor's procedures with respect to sweat equity shares. Now, if you want to reduce your share capital, I hope you have done with internal reconstruction. In your company accounts part, internal reconstruction, where reduction in share capital, alteration of share capital. Come on, which form will you file with MCA? Tell me. Reduction in share capital is alteration in share capital. You have to follow section 66 of the Companies Act. Now tell me which form will you file with the Registrar of Companies on the MCA website? Which form for reduction in share capital? Let's check your presence of mind, how well you are present in class. Yes, Hitesh, Akashnil, good. Good. What about others? Which form would you file? SH7, right? For reduction in share capital, you need to verify that meeting of the shareholders was held and the special resolution required to pass was properly passed in a properly convened meeting. And circulation and the proposal that in the meeting will be discussed on reducing share capital. This proposal was circulated in advance to all the shareholders. The AOA authorized reduction of capital. The articles of association should authorize reduction of capital. If it is not there, you'll first have to amend your AOA. And for that, form has also to be filed to amend AOA. Then only you'll be able to reduce your share capital. Examine there is no default with respect to repayment of deposits accepted by the company or payment of interest on such deposits. Reduction of capital shall not be affected if such default exists. Affected means here carried out. First, you have to make good if there are any defaults on the repayment towards deposits or interest on those deposits if they are overdue. Only then you will be able to carry out the reduction process. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to carry out the reduction process. Okay? Fine. Okay. Then examine the order of the tribunal confirming that reduction and verify a copy of the order of the minutes have been registered. Sometimes what happens is that a creditor or a shareholder, no meeting is, but a particular stakeholder reaches the tribunal, approaches the tribunal that share capital be reduced. He could move an application, and if tribunal passes an order confirming the reduction, right? Or the company may itself move to the tribunal, company's law tribunal, then if it is being carried out on the basis of the order of the tribunal, a copy of the order and minutes have to be filed with the registrar of companies by way of an appropriate form. Check the registrar's certificate as regards to reduction of capital. This has to be done by the auditor on the MCA website. I'll see if I can show you the MCA website in our next session. How do you check for various forms and other things? I'll see. I'll try if I can show you the MCA website, right? So you can check it online over there. What do you need to do? Normal audit procedures, vouching the accounting entries, right? Continued audit procedures. You have to check the accounting entries related to reduction in capital. Requirements of Schedule 3 Part 1 have been complied with related to presentation and disclosure. Confirm whether any revaluation of assets have been carried out during this process. It has to be properly disclosed in the balance sheet. So how can a company reduce its share capital? By reduction in unpaid capital. It can ask the shareholders, okay, don't pay us. Share capital gets reduced. Cancellation of lost capital or paying off excess paid up capital. So, verify the adjustments made in the members' accounts with respect to money due to them or due from them. The members who are shareholders. And old share certificates be disposed of and altered and new certificates be issued in place of old. Old should be cancelled. Either altered or cancelled altogether and new certificates to be issued. The most important part, the words and reduced, if required by the order of the tribunal, have been added to the name of the company in the balance sheet. You know, in the paper of accounts, while attempting a question of reconstruction, internal reconstruction, if you present a balance sheet after internal reconstruction, you have to write the words and reduced. Otherwise, you lose marks if it is by the order of the tribunal. Okay? Check if the company has complied with all the terms and conditions imposed by the tribunal. Verify MOA that has been suitably amended with respect to share capital. You'll have to amend your memorandum of association because now you're reducing your share capital. If the company has made any buyback of securities, ensure Section 8 has been complied with. For reduction of share capital, company could also resort to buyback. So ensure Section 68 you have read in law, as well as if it is a listed company, the SEBI guidelines, they are being followed. The auditor has to ensure that. Okay, Bandadi says we have already seen the MC website in law class. That's good. That's really great. Nice. The last part is presentation and disclosure. Schedule 3, part 1, as usual. What do you have to disclose for each class of share capital? Equity preference separate, and if there are different classes of preference shares, each class of such shares to be treated separately. The number and amount of shares authorized, the number of shares issued, subscribed, fully paid, subscribed but not fully paid, par value, reconciliation. This is the most important. Reconciliation of the number of shares outstanding at the beginning and at the end of the reporting period. What were the beginning number of shares during the start of the year and at the end of the year? A reconciliation. Opening, changes during the year, closing. Right? All rights, preference, and restriction to each class to be disclosed. Holding subsidiary management to be disclosed of shares. Very important part. If any shareholder holds more than 5% shares in the company, his name with all the details to be disclosed in a proper table annexure, specifying what number of shares does he hold. Very important part. Shares reserved for issue under options, contracts, commitments. For the period of 5 years immediately preceding the date at which the balance sheet is prepared, aggregate number and class of shares allotted as fully paid pursuant to a contract without payment being received in cash. Consideration for other than cash, aggregate number of shares and class of shares. For 5 years, you have to disclose this from the very first year. Aggregate number and class of shares allotted as fully paid by way of bonus shares. And aggregate number and class of shares bought back. Whenever such transactions happen, for continuous 5 years, you have to disclose this thing. Right? Immediately preceding the date as which the balance sheet is prepared. For example, in the last 5 years, if any such thing had happened, I have to declare it in my balance sheet as on date. If these 3 transactions have happened in the last 5 years. Terms of any securities convertible into equity, you have done debentures convertible into convertible debentures, convertible preference shares. They have to be disclosed starting with the earliest date of conversion in descending order. So, which class of debentures or preference shares are soon to be converted, due for conversion in the nearing date? So, earliest date of conversion in descending order. Starting from the farthest such date. Issued with the earliest date of conversion in descending order, you have to start from the farthest such date. Which date is farther? Descending order means the larger part to the smaller part. So where conversion is quite far to be a date, that has to be listed first and the earliest at the last. Calls unpaid showing aggregate value specifically by directors and officers and forfeited shares. So how do you show, this is the last part, how do you show the shareholding of promoters? This is it. Shares held by promoters at the end of the year. Number, promoter's name, number of shares, percentage of total shares, and percentage change during the year. The same format you follow for the 5% part. Shareholders who hold more than 5% of the shares in the company. Okay. So this is what was related to share capital. In the next class, for the initial half an hour, we'll be taking up with reserves and surplus and borrowings part. The borrowings part, some latest provisions are there in the share capital part, the same are repeated in the borrowings part as well. So we'll be doing that with the borrowings part and reserves and surplus. So this is what for the end of the session today. I hope you all are exhausted by now, tired by now. The activity and then this balance sheet part took you to a ride through your 12 standard. In the next class, we'll be taking up further with reserves and surplus, borrowings, and one more part of the balance sheet. Please preserve your doubts for the day. I can see there is doubt with respect to father's date, Herial and all. I'll take them up again in the next session in the starting. Please read it from your module. I'll be uploading the notes after the next session for this particular part. So you can read it from your module. Right? And you can come up with doubts at the start of the next session as well. Take care till then. Okay? Good night. Good night, everyone. Ashok ji? Yes, we are done.